Hey everybody, it's time for another Elite Eight game in the in the May Madness tournament. And it's going to be a rematch of the 1969 World Series as those two teams have advanced to this point. It's the 1969 New York Mets against the 1969 Baltimore Orioles. Differences in this game is that we're in a tournament, not in the World Series, and also both teams will have use of the designated hitter. So we'll be right back to meet the starting pitchers and the starting lineups in just a second. Okay, let's look at the starting lineups first for the 69 New York Mets. Leading off in center field is Tommy Agee. Batting second and playing second base is Al Weiss. Hitting third and playing left field is Cleon Jones. Batting cleanup, the first baseman Don Clendenin. Batting fifth in right field is Ron Swoboda. Hitting sixth and doing the designated hitting is Art Shamsky. Batting seventh and playing third base is Ed Charles. Batting eighth and catching is Jerry Grody. And batting ninth, the shortstop Bud Harrelson. And on the mound for the Mets will be Tom Terrific Seaver. And the the Mets will be facing left-hander Mike Cuellar. Cuellar on the 69 season went 23-11 with a 2.38 ERA. So we're ready to go as Tommy Agee steps in the box against Mike Cuellar. And the first pitch here in this Elite Eight game has now been delivered. It is a 3-4. Tommy Agee against a left-handed pitcher. 3-4 is a fly ball to center field. So he flies out to center for out number one. And just like that, we are underway. And that'll bring up second baseman Al Weiss, right-handed hitter against the left-handed pitching Cuellar. It's a 3-7, so Weiss against a lefty. 3-7 is a ground ball to second. So that's out number two. So Cuellar quickly 2 up and 2 down. And that'll bring up left fielder Cleon Jones. And the delivery's a 1-9, so everything's off the batter's cards. 1-9 Cleon Jones against a left-handed pitcher is a ground ball back to the pitcher. He just missed his home run by 1 number. If it had been a 110, it had been a homer, but it's a ground ball back to Cuellar to end the inning. So 3 up, 3 down. Nothing doing for the Mets here in the top of the first. We go to the bottom of the first with the score, Mets nothing and the Orioles coming to bat. Okay, let's get a look at the Orioles starting lineup. Leading off in left field is Don Buford. Batting second in center field is Paul Blair. Hitting third in right field is Frank Robinson. Hitting cleanup at first base is Boog Powell. Batting fifth at third base is Brooks Robinson. Batting sixth is the designated hitter Kurt Moten. Batting seventh and playing second base is Davey Johnson. Batting eighth and catching is Andy Etchebarren, as he takes over for Elrod Hendricks. He's a little bit better defensive catcher, and he actually has a little bit better batting average. So even though Seaver's a righty, Earl Weaver going with some gut instinct here and using Andy Etchebarren. And batting ninth is the shortstop Mark Belanger. All right, Don Buford has stepped in the box against Tom Seaver, and on the 69 season, Tom Seaver was 25-7 with an ERA of 2.21. So looking for a pitcher's duel in this game would not be out of the question with these two pitchers. And let's get going here. Don Buford's going to see if he can get something going against Seaver. It's a 2-9. So again, we're under the batter's card. Buford 2-9 against a right-hander. He's got a chance 1-3 for a triple and 4-20 for a double. So he will get things going with a bang here. There's the roll. It's an 18. That is a double. So a leadoff double for Don Buford. And that's just the way Earl Weaver likes it, as the Oriole franchise continues to do well in this tournament. They have not lost yet, so we'll see. Paul Blair, the batter, number 2 hitter. Against Seaver, it is a 2-6. So again, we're off the batter card. 2-6 is a single to center field. Single to center field. Agee is a -3 arm, and there's nobody out, so Buford will hold at third base. So runners are at the corners with nobody out. Seaver trying to get settled in here, and now has to face Frank Robinson. So here's Frank Robinson with runners at the corners. Infield's a double play depth trying to turn 2. It's a 5-7, so we're finally off the pitcher card. 5-7 is a strikeout, so a huge strikeout for Tom Terrific Seaver for out number 1. But he's not out of the woods yet because Boog Powell is up, and he can do damage. So Boog Powell against Seaver. It's a 4-7, so we're under Seaver again, this time against a left-handed batter. 4-7 is a split chance. 1-4 is a double. And 5-20 is a fly ball center field B, which would still be a sacrifice fly. So a run's going to score here regardless. And it's a 1-4 to give Powell a double. You got a 16, so it's a sac fly. So Powell with a sacrifice fly to right field for the second out. Bud Buford will come in to score. And the Orioles grab a 1-0 lead. 1-0 lead, and Blair is still at first. And that'll bring up Brooks Robinson. 2 outs and a runner at first. And it's a 3-10, so we're off Robinson's card. 3-10 is a ground ball back to the pitcher, so he grounds it to Seaver to end the inning. But the Orioles break through. It's an all-important first run. They fire the first shot, and after 1 inning of play, it is the Orioles 1 and the Mets nothing. And Mike Cuellar takes the mound with a lead, and he'll be facing Don Clendenin, the first baseman. Mets going with their right-handed hitting lineup primarily against the lefty Cuellar. It is a 6-6, so we're under Cuellar. 6-6 is a ground ball to third base, Brooks Robinson, so there's 1 away. So a 5-3 ground out. Out number 1, and here is Ron Swoboda. Swoboda, a 3-9 against the lefty, is a strikeout. So Cuellar puts the K on Swoboda for out number 2. And now the only left-handed hitter in the Mets lineup is coming up, Art Shamsky. He was a 300 hitter on the year, though, so that's why they're using him. It's a 1-5. 1-5 is a strikeout. So that will do it for the Mets. Again, here in the second, they go quietly. 2 strikeouts for Cuellar. We go to the bottom of the second, still 1-0 in favor of the Orioles. And designated hitter Kurt Moten steps to the plate. Kurt Moten leading off against Tom Seaver. It's a 2-5. So Kurt Moten, 2-5 against a right-handed pitcher is a walk. So Kurt Moten with a leadoff walk. And those leadoff walks, we all know how they can come back to bite you. Here's Davey Johnson against Seaver. 3-9 for Johnson. 3-9 is a ground ball pitcher A, and that's going to be a double play. So Davey Johnson hits into the 1-4-3 double play. And quickly 2 away. And that'll bring up Andy Etchebarren. It's a 1-6. 1-6 for Etchebarren is a strikeout. So Seaver strikes out Etchebarren. And the inning is over without incident. We've completed 2, and the score is the Orioles 1 and the Mets nothing. So Ed Charles will lead things off here for the Mets. Bottom third of the order, Charles, Grody, and Harrelson to face Cuellar. 4-4-4, 4-8 for Cuellar against a right-handed batter is a strikeout. So Cuellar has struck out his 3rd batter in a row, going back to last inning. And that will bring up Jerry Grody. Grody is off his card this time against a left-handed pitcher, a 2-3. A 2-3 is a ground ball to third. So he grounds to Brooks Robinson for out number 2. Quickly 2 up and 2 down, and switch hitting Bud Harrelson, the number 9 hitter, steps up. 1-6 against a lefty. 1-6 is a fly ball to left. So fly ball to left, and the inning is over. We've completed the top of the third with the score still Baltimore 1 and the Mets nothing. And now the only man not to bat yet in the game, Mark Belanger, will lead things off here in the bottom of the third against Seaver. It's a 6-9, so we're under Seaver against a right-handed batter. 6-9 is a ground ball shortstop X, so we got our first fielding check. Bud Harrelson is a number 2 rated center fielder. I'm sorry, shortstop. Number 2 rated shortstop. I don't know what he would be in center field. Probably not much. 13, so he missed his error check because the error check is 8-12. So a 2 rated shortstop, number 13, is a ground ball B. So Bud Harrelson makes the play, no problem. One away, one shortstop retires the other. And now Don Buford is up. He doubled and scored his first time up. This is a 5-5. 5-5 off of Seaver versus a left-handed batter is a strikeout. So Seaver with a K for out number 2. And now we're down to Paul Blair. And Blair had the single in the first inning that moved Buford to third and allowed him to score on the sac fly. So he was instrumental in that inning. It's a 1-3. 1-3 is a single for Paul Blair, so he keeps it going. And he is an A stealer, so with 2 outs and a runner at first, they might want to try to get him in scoring position. Let's do some calculations here. As an A stealer, he starts out as a 15, but he loses 2 for being held, so that's a 13. And then Grody is a -3, so that makes it a 10. So it's a 1 to 10 chance they're going to take it. Earl Weaver not known to want to steal all that much, but I'm going to override the Earl on this one and give it a shot since we got a 50-50 chance. 1 to 10, he's safe. It's a 16, so he's out, so I should have listened to Earl. He is out. Caught stealing. 2-4. Caught stealing. And that will end the 3rd inning. So, after 3 complete, score remains Baltimore 1 and New York nothing. And Frank Robinson will have to go back out into the field and get the bat next time. Didn't get a chance this time with the caught stealing. All right, back to the top of the order. Tommy Agee against Cuellar. 6-4. 6-4 against a right-handed batter is a ground ball to shortstop X. That's going to be Belanger. He is a number 2 rated shortstop. Number 2. It's a 9. A 9, which means we are in the possibility of an error because that falls in the 8-12 split. Belanger is at E26, so E26, a 3, 4, 5, 6, or 8 will be an error. So let's see what happens here on Belanger. It's a 4, and a 4 falls in the error category. So it's an E1, or 1 base error, not an E1, E6, but it's a 1 base error. An error on Belanger to start off the 4th inning. And that will bring up Al Weiss. And Al Weiss is a B-rated bunter. So they may want to try to move him into score. Use Weiss, who was only a 215 hitter, to advance the runner. So they're going to go ahead and try a sacrifice bunt. He's a B bunter. However, the Orioles are expecting it, so we're looking now at a C bunter because he gets reduced by 1 quality. So it's a C bunter on a sacrifice. Let's see what happens. It's a 12, big number. All right, we go to the sacrifice chart. C, and number 12, batter pops out into double play, lead runner is out. So that's the danger there. He pops out to the catcher. So Weiss pops up to Echebarren for out number 1, and then Echebarren throws to Belanger at short to nail Agee, and that's a double play to end the inning. So there is the danger when you steal, bunt, and hit and run. As we see, the first 2 chances, the stealing and the bunting, both resulted in outs. So you never know. Here's Cleon Jones. It's a 2-11 against the lefty Cuellar. 2-11 is a fly ball to right field. So Frank Robinson makes the play, and the inning is over. We go to the bottom of the 4th, still 1-0 Orioles. And coming up will be Frank Robinson to face Tom Seaver, and Robinson struck out his first time up against Seaver. It's a 4-8. 4-8 against a right-handed batter is a walk. So this time he walks Frank Robinson. That's the 2nd consecutive leadoff walk that Seaver has permitted. And actually, it's 2 out of the last 3 innings that's happened, not the previous inning. But he got out of it the first time. So let's see. Boog Powell hit a sacrifice fly his first time up. This is a 6-11 against a left-handed batter. 6-11 is a fly ball to right field X. The right fielder is Ron Swoboda. He's a 3. So we'll go ahead and check out Swoboda here. And that's a 13 for Swoboda, so he may have made the play. We'll check it out. We'll go to the left and right field. He is a number 3 rated player. Scroll down to 13. 13 is actually in his split. So we go to his error rating, which is only a 4. So that's pretty good. As an E4, well, he's got a 3, 4, 11, or 12 could be an error. So he needs to avoid the 3, 4, 11, and 12. If he can avoid those, he'll be all right. 3, 4, 11, and 12 is not what Swoboda wants. It's a 6, and he did avoid it. So an E4 with a 6 is a fly ball B. So that's an out. And Robinson, of course, has to stay right where he is. 1 away. And that brings up the designated hitter, Kurt Moton, who walked his first time up. It's a 6-10 against the right-handed batter. 6-10 is a ground ball to shortstop X. That's Bud Harrelson. He's a 2 rated shortstop. So let's see if he can make the play. It's an 8, so I think that's in his where we have to check for an error. And it is. 8 to 12 is the error split. So Harrelson's an E27. E27 could be problematic. Let's see. The roll is a 6. So we'll check the E27 and a number 6. That's an E1. E1, so 1 base error on Bud Harrelson. So now both shortstops have committed errors in this game. 1 apiece. And that will put runners at first and second with 1 out for that was Brooks Robinson, not Kurt Moton, my bad. So, let's see here. That was Brooks Robinson, not Kurt Moton. All right, now Kurt Moton will come up. He will step to the plate, and we will be looking at Kurt Moton. It's a 5-6. 5-6 against a right-hander is a strikeout. Strikeout. So fortunately, I misread that, but there was 2 right-handed batters in a row, so the result would have been the same no matter who was batting, as long as they were right-handed. So I think everything's still in order here. 2 outs, 2 on for Davey Johnson. 6-6. 6-6 is a fly ball to right field B, and the inning is over. So Seaver pitches around the walk and the error, and after 4 complete, score remains Baltimore 1 and the Mets nothing. And that'll bring up the first baseman, Don Clendenin, to face Cuellar. Clendenin grounded to third his first time up. And that's a 6-9 against a right-handed batter for Cuellar. 6-9 is a ground ball to short. So it's a ground ball to Belanger for out number 1. And now we switch over to Ron Swoboda. And Swoboda, a 110 against a left-handed pitcher. 110 is going to be a base hit, the first one of the game for the Mets. It's either going to be a double or a single. 1 to 13 is a double. Anything else is a single. It's a 7, so that's a double. So it's a double for Ron Swoboda. And so much for the no-hitter. That has gone by the wayside. And that brings up Art Shamsky, and actually the Mets can tie the game with a base hit here. So here is Shamsky. It's a 6-9 against Cuellar. Shamsky, a left-handed batter. 6-9 is a fly ball to left, so that's out number 2 as he flies to Buford. And now it's up to third baseman Ed Charles, who struck out his first time up. And Charles against the lefty Cuellar, a 2-7, and he strikes out again. 2-7 is a strikeout. So the inning is over, and Cuellar pitches around that 1-out double to get out of this. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. Score still, Orioles 1 and the Mets nothing. So we're getting the pitching duel that I certainly anticipated. And now we've got Andy Etchebarren lead things off, and he struck out his first time up. It's a 5-10 against Seaver. 5-10 is a ground ball to short, so 6-3 ground out for out number 1. That brings up Mark Belanger. Belanger, a 4-8 against Seaver. And that's a walk. So Seaver walks the number 9 hitter, Belanger. Certainly not something you would expect Seaver to do, but he did it anyway, whether you expect it to or not. So here's Buford. He's 1 for 2 with a with a strikeout. He did double and score the game's only run. It's a 5-3 switch hitter against Seaver. 5-3 is a ground ball back to the pitcher X. And Seaver is a 1-rated pitcher, both with the bat and with the glove. So he's a 1-rated pitcher. So we'll roll the D20 and check out what a 1-rated pitcher will do. It's 12, so that's going to be in his error check anyway, regardless of his rating. So we're going to be looking at Seaver as an E11. He is an E11. So we're going to check the E11 chart on Seaver. And for pitchers, E11, 3, 4, 5, or 12 is what will be an error. 3, 4, 5, or 12. It's an 8. So an 8 is a ground ball A, and that's a double play. So Buford hits into the double play. That's going to be a 1 to 6 to 3 double play. Second one, I believe, turned by the Mets in this game. And that will end the inning. So we go to the 6th inning. We've completed 5. Still the Orioles 1 and the Mets nothing. And catcher Jerry Grody will lead things off. Bottom part of the order, Grody, Harrelson, and Agee. So let's see if the Mets can get anything going with the bottom portion of their order against Cuellar. 4-9 against a righty batter. 4-9. Well, you got one chance at a single. Anything else is a ground ball to Boog Powell. So unless Grody can find a way to get a 1 here, he is out. It's a 15, so it's a ground ball to Boog Powell for out number 1. And we've got Bud Harrelson, the shortstop, switch hitter, batting right. It's a 3-5. So Bud Harrelson against a lefty pitcher. 3-5 is a ground ball to second baseman Davey Johnson for out number 2. So a 4-3 ground out for out number 2. Top of the order, Tommy Agee. He reached on the error and was erased on a double play pop-up failed sacrifice. It's a 3-10. 3-10 is a fly ball to right field to end the inning. And that's going to do it for the Mets. And we go to the bottom of the 6th. Still 1-0. And we're looking at Paul Blair to lead things off. And Paul Blair against Seaver is a right-handed batter. 5-6 against a righty is a strikeout. So Seaver starts out the 6th with a K of Paul Blair for out number 1. And that brings up Frank Robinson. It's a 3-6. So Frank Robinson against a right-hander, 3-6. Got a split chance, 1-3 for a single. Anything else is a line out to Ed Charles at third. It's a 3, so that's a base hit for Frank Robinson. A 1-out single. And that will bring up Boog Powell. If I cannot drop my dice, I'll be going to pause this real quick while I retrieve the die. Okay, now we're ready. Boog Powell with Frank Robinson at first and 1 out. It's a 6-8. Seaver against a left-handed batter. 6-8 is a pop out to the second baseman, Al Weiss. So out number 2. And now we've got Brooks Robinson, the batter. He reached on an error his last time up. It's a 3-10 against the right-hander Seaver. And that's a ground ball back to the mound. So uneventful 6th inning for the Orioles as they go down pretty quietly. Just the 1 hit. And after 6 complete, we are still at 1-0. If we go to the top of the 7th, it'll be Al Weiss to lead things off. Al Weiss 0 for 2. It's a 1-4 against Cuellar. So Weiss against a lefty, Cuellar a 1-4 is a strikeout. So Al Weiss with a strikeout for out number 1. And that brings up Cleon Jones. Cleon Jones, a 5-7 against a right-handed batter, is a fly ball to center field. So Cleon Jones is out. So we got a strikeout and a fly to center for the first 2 outs. And now there's up to Don Clendenin. He has the capability of tying the ball game with one swing of the bat. He has some good power, particularly against left-handed pitching. So let's see what he can do here. He's 0 for 2 with 2 groundouts so far. It's a 4-7 against Cuellar. Right-hander 4-7 is a strikeout. So Cuellar picks up the K. And we go to the 7th inning stretch. Score still Baltimore 1 and the Mets nothing. And Tom Seaver back out to the mound to face Kurt Moten. Now the point of weakness for both Seaver and Cuellar. Seaver starts in the 8th inning and Cuellar doesn't start until the 9th. So they're still good for another couple of innings. So let's see what happens here. Seaver will be facing Kurt Moten. It's a 4-7. 4-7 is a split chance. 1-4 for a double. 5-20 is a fly ball to Paul Blair. So it's a deep drive to center. Blair trying to catch up to it. And he does. So Paul Blair makes the play. 1 away. And that'll bring up Davey Johnson, second baseman. All 6s, 6-12 against Tom Seaver. And that's going to be a split chance, although not a good one. 1-2 was a single. Anything else is a line out to Bud Harrelson. So Johnson needs a 1 or 2. And he doesn't get it, so it's a line out to Bud Harrelson for out number 2. And that brings up the catcher, Andy Etchebarren. Etchebarren, a 4-2 against Seaver. 4-2 is a ground ball to third. So that's going to do it for the Orioles. 3 up, 3 down here in the 7th. We've completed 7. Score still Orioles 1 and the Mets nothing. All right, Ron Swoboda starts out the top of the 8th. We got Swoboda, Shamsky, and Charles due up for the Mets, who have been limited to just 1 hit. And it was Swoboda who hit a double. That was the only hit the Mets have had so far through these 7 innings. It's a 110. See if Swoboda can do it again. 110, he's done it again. This is the same roll, I believe, that he got the hit on the first time with a double or a single possibility. So I think the 110 has done it again for Swoboda. A 1 through 13 is a double. It's a 17, so it's only a single this time, but still, Swoboda with a leadoff single. And now, if you're the Mets, do you try some sort of small ball here to tie the game? Art Shamsky is not a good bunter. He's only a C bunter, so they're gonna Gil Hodges is gonna see if there's a better bunter on the team. There are a couple of B-rated bunters. Actually, they also have an A-rated bunter, but he's a good hitter. They don't want to waste him. So they're trying to see if there's any other B-rated bunters on here that could possibly step in. And it looks like it's going to be Ken Boswell, I believe. Or is it Wayne Garrett? It could be Wayne Garrett. It's going to be Wayne Garrett because he's only a 218 hitter, but he is a B bunter. So Wayne Garrett, and they don't want to use the better hitters that might be able to use for pinch hitters later. So Wayne Garrett's going to come on, and he's going to stay on as the DH. So Wayne Garrett is going to pinch hit here in the top of the 8th. And he's up there for one reason and one reason only. That's the bunt. He's a B bunter. However, since the Orioles are expecting it, he's now dropped to a C bunter. So let's see what happens here. That's a 9. So a C bunter and a number 9. Batter is safe. Lead runner is thrown up by the catcher. So again, the sacrifice does not work as Andy Etchebarren throws to Belanger covering at first. There's 1 out. Garrett does reach first, but now there's 1 away for Ed Charles. Ed Charles, a 3-4 for Ed Charles against the lefty Cuellar. 3-4 is a ground ball back to the pitcher, and that's going to be a double play because it's a ground ball A. So it's a 1-4-3 double play. So the Mets are kind of darned if they do and darned if they don't. They try the sacrifice, doesn't work. They try swinging away, and they hit into a double play. Just the way it goes sometimes. Nothing doing for the Orioles in the 8th. We go to the bottom of the 8th as Seaver tries to keep it close. It is still 1-0. And bottom portion of the Orioles lineup, Mark Belanger, number 9 hitter, start things off. Belanger, a 3-6 against Seaver. 3-6 is a walk. So another leadoff walk for Tom Seaver. That is the third leadoff walk of the game. Second time that Belanger has walked. It was not a leadoff walk last time, but it was still a walk. And now you wonder if the Orioles might play a little small ball, even though that's against Earl Weaver's nature. Buford is a B bunter, and again, we'd be looking at the C chart. So they're going to try it. Overriding the Earl again, going to try to play small ball with Buford. He's a C bunter since the Mets are expecting it. It's a 4, so this one might work. A C bunter, a number 4. Batter is thrown up by pitcher, runner advances. So it's a 1-4 sacrifice for Buford. He does the job. And Belanger now is in scoring position with 1 out. And you've got Paul Blair and Frank Robinson with 2 chances now to drive him home. So that time it worked. So here's Paul Blair against Seaver. It's a 4-9. 4-9 is a strikeout because Seaver is in his point of weakness, but he's only given up one base runner, so he's not reached his point of weakness yet, so that strikeout does stand. That is a strikeout number 2 for Paul Blair today, and it's the second out of the inning, so now it's up to Frank Robinson. First base is open, but you got Boog Powell on deck, so pretty much pick your poison there. They'll go ahead and pitch to Frank. Here's the pitch. It's a 3-9. 3-9, and he walks again. So unintentional, intentional walk perhaps. Frank Robinson will walk for the second time today. He's reached base 3 out of 4 times. And now it's Boog Powell. It's down to this. Boog Powell. And do the Mets want to bring in a lefty, Tug McGraw, to counteract Boog Powell? They are certainly considering it. And I think they're going to go ahead and pull the trigger because Tom Seaver is getting close to his point of weakness. So Tug McGraw is going to be coming in, and we'll be right back to get the totals on Seaver. Okay, on the 69 season, Tug McGraw was 9-3 with a 2.24 ERA and 12 saves. And he'll be facing Boog Powell, lefty-on-lefty matchup. Can't quite close the book on Seaver just yet, but he did throw 7 2/3 innings, giving up only 4 hits. 1 run so far. He did walk 5 and strike out 6. The 5 walks a little bit uncharacteristic, but just a little bit off today. And now he has to face, Tug McGraw has to face Boog Powell with 2 on and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. It's a 3-12. So Boog Powell against a lefty. 3-12 is a line out to second baseman Al Weiss, and it would have been a chance for a double or potential triple play, but there were already 2 outs. So it's simply a line out to second. Inning is over. We can close the book on Seaver. I was really hoping to get Seaver a complete game there, but just thought prudence said to make that pitching change with the lefty Powell coming up. So that's what I did. And now Mike Cuellar is up, and this is his point of weakness inning, starting with the 9th. And the Orioles do have their closer, Eddie Watt. Eddie Watt is loosening in the bullpen. He had 16 saves on the year, just in case Cuellar should falter. For the Mets, they could have some pinch hitting going on here because we're at the bottom of the order. Jerry Grody, Bud Harrelson, who was only a 248 hitter, and so I think Rod Gaspar has picked up a bat and will be looking to do some damage here. Well, actually, he was a 228 hitter, so I don't know if they want to use him or not. Not a whole lot of options for the Mets. Duffy Dyer is a potential, but really most of their better hitters are left-handed. So, do you want to try to take a chance of going lefty on lefty? You might be better off just sticking with Grody and Harrelson now that we think about it. So that's what Gil Hodges is going to do. He's going to stick with the guys that are already in the game. So Jerry Grody starts off the top of the 9th against Cuellar. 0 for 2 with 2 groundouts. It's a 3-10. 3-10 for Grody is a single. So it's a leadoff single for Grody. He gets aboard on a leadoff single. And this has got Bud Harrelson sacrifice bunt written all over it. And Grody could be pinch run for because he's obviously not the fastest runner around. So we're going to see who they might have on the bench that can run. We got, let's see here, looks like they're going to use Ken Boswell. So Ken Boswell, who is a 14 runner, is going to be the pinch runner for Grote. And if the Mets do happen to somehow tie the score or take the lead, then J.C. Martin would come in and catch, or Duffy Dyer. They have two catchers on the bench. So pinch runner is going to be Ken Boswell. He will pinch run here in the ninth. So Boswell pinch running. Harrelson is a B bunter, which means the Orioles are looking for it. So it's going to now be a C bunter. So we'll see if Harrelson can do it. It's a 6. He may have done it. C bunter, number 6. Batter is thrown up by third base and runner advances. So Brooks Robinson fielded it, but Bud Harrelson did the job. Sacrifice hit 5-4, 1 away, and that brings up the top of the order and Tommy Agee. Now, Cuellar, do they leave him in? He's only given up 2 hits the whole game. The hit to Grote was he's given up 3 hits. 2 to Swoboda and 1 to Grote. So Eddie Watt could be coming in to get the save possibility with all these, heavy right-handed hitters coming up. So Earl Weaver is mulling things over. Let's see here. Agee was pretty good against left-handed pitching. So they're going to make the call to the bullpen. As much as he would love to see Cuellar get a complete game, they don't want to see him lose this game. So we're going to make a pitching change, and Eddie Watt, their closer, sidewinding right-handed closer, is coming in. And we'll be right back to give the totals on Cuellar and take a look at Watt. Okay, can't close the book on Cuellar, but he did pitch it very well. 8 1/3 innings, only gave up 3 hits. Didn't walk anybody. That was another key, and he struck out 6. Now Eddie Watt is in. He was 5-2 on the '69 season with a 1.65 ERA and 16 saves. So he is in to face Tommy Agee, a righty-on-righty matchup with pinch runner Ken Boswell at second base as the tying run. So here is Agee. Watt against Agee. It's a 6-6. 6-6 is a ground ball to shortstop A. So it's ground ball to short, and Boswell will have to hold. So it's a ground out to Belanger for out number 2. Boswell will stay right where he is. And just out of curiosity's sake, had Cuellar been in the game on a 6 roll against a righty, it would have been a ground ball to third. So not much difference there. But now Al Weiss is up, but he's a meekly 215 hitter. So he will leave, and Ed Kranepool, because now that Watt's in the game, they can bring in their left-handed pinch hitters. So Ed Kranepool is going to get the call. Veteran Ed Kranepool will pinch hit here for Al Weiss. So Ed Kranepool stepping up with the game on the line. Ed Kranepool. So it's up to Kranepool. He does have a very good column 3 against right-handed pitching. So we'll see what happens. If he rolls a 3, we could have a tie ball game. So let's see what happens here. Now he rolled a 1, but it's a 1-6. 1-6 is a ground ball to first, and the ball game is over. So the Orioles hang on and win, and the Orioles as a franchise have not lost a tournament game yet. This one went down to the wire, 1-0. And we'll be right back with the totals. Okay, we're back to wrap this one up. The Orioles win it in dramatic fashion by holding on in the top of the ninth by a score of 1-0. 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error for the Orioles. They left 6 runners on. For the Mets, no runs, 3 hits, and 2 of those 3 hits were from Ron Swoboda, and the other was from the catcher, Jerry Grote. And they had 1 error, and they only left 2 runners on base because of some double plays. And the winning pitcher was Mike Cuellar. Went 8 1/3 innings, only gave up 3 hits, didn't walk anybody, struck out 6. Eddie Watt pitched the final 2/3 of an inning for his save. And Tom Seaver, the very tough luck loser, giving up only 1 run through 7 2/3. And that run came in the first on a sacrifice fly by Boog Powell. And that was the difference. So as we move on to the Final Four now, we will see that it's going to be Baltimore against Baltimore, so something's got to give here. No Oriole team has lost yet in the tournament, so it's one of them's going to lose now because we got the 83 Orioles against the 69 Orioles, and I believe the only player that appeared on both teams was Jim Palmer, but I have to double check that. I think that's the case. But they'll be playing each other, and somebody's going to have to lose that game. And the other Final Four is not quite set yet. We do have the 41 Yankees who defeated the 77 Yankees, but we still have to play the PC version, which contains another Baltimore franchise, the 1979 Orioles. They'll be taking on the surprising Moneyball Oakland A's in a PC game, and what I may do, or I may attempt to do, if I can figure it out, is use the card imaging of the computer to have the cards in front of me on the screen and then play the game out with cards and dice. So I'll see if I can't do that. I'm going to give it a shot. If I can't, then I'll fall back to the boring, what some people call boring computer game to as far as this tournament goes. But we'll do what we can do. So anyway, it looks like we could have a potential for all Baltimore, 3 Baltimore and 1 New York Yankee team, all AL East final, unless Oakland upsets the apple cart. So we'll see. That's it from here. Hope everybody enjoyed that game. Wasn't much offense. It was great pitching, which is kind of what was going to be expected. And it was definitely down to the wire. So that's it from here, and hope everybody has a great day and enjoys whatever game you're playing. And I will catch up with everybody for the next and final Four game between the Moneyball Oakland A's and the 1979 Baltimore Orioles.